Hey, I'm Mia, and this is the story of my 25th birthday. You ever have one of those nights that looks perfect from the outside, but the second you step inside, you can tell something's off? That was my party. My parents' dining room, all dressed up with warm lights and polished glasses, a small family gathering, smiles that moved but never really reached anyone's eyes. I remember standing there, smoothing down my dress, accepting the first hug of the night, and there was this feeling in my chest, tight, uncomfortable, like something was trying to warn me that this night wasn't really about celebrating me at all. But I pushed it down. I was good at pushing things down back then. My sister swept in late, because of course she did. Confident, loud, the kind of energy that fills up a room whether you want it to or not. She hugged me, but it was quick, almost formal. Her perfume hung in the air after she pulled away, and her smile was thin. Dinner started off polite, plates clinking, little bursts of forced laughter bouncing around the table. I poured myself some wine and kept telling myself to just be grateful. Told myself birthdays are complicated. Told myself I was probably just being too sensitive. Turns out I was wrong about all of it. The whole table went quiet when my sister cleared her throat. You know that kind of silence? The heavy one that means something sharp is about to get thrown? She looked right at me. Not angry. Honestly, anger I could have understood. This was different, colder, like she'd practiced these words, memorized them. And then, on my birthday, my sister said, "We're ashamed that you use our last name." It hit me like a slap, sudden, public. For a second, I actually thought I'd misheard her, like my brain was trying to protect me by twisting the sound into something less cruel. But then I saw my mom nod, slow, lips pressed together, like shame was just this normal family value we were all supposed to share. My dad didn't say anything. He didn't have to. The way he looked at my sister with that same pride he used to give her when she won awards or closed big deals, that told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a mistake. This was a verdict, and they'd agreed on it before I ever walked in the room. I just sat there, holding my wine. The stem felt slick in my fingers. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure everyone could hear it. I stared at the tablecloth, because I knew if I looked up, I'd cry, and I was not about to give them that. I started thinking about all those years I'd carried their last name, all the times I'd defended it, worked for it, tried so hard to make it mean something good, and suddenly it felt like a costume they were ripping off me in front of everyone. My sister kept going in that calm, superior voice, explained how my choices reflected badly on the family, how people talked, how appearances mattered. Every word landed like another small cut, precise, intentional. I wanted to fight back, wanted to ask her since when love came with conditions, since when a name was something you had to earn by being obedient enough. But my throat just closed up. All that came out was nothing. The room felt smaller somehow. The walls seemed to be listening. The candles flickered like even they were nervous. And I realized right then how completely alone I was at my own birthday table. Then I noticed my grandmother at the far end. Grandma hadn't said a word all night, just sat there with her hands folded, watching my sister in a way that made me pause. There was something in her eyes I hadn't seen before, a stillness that wasn't weakness, a patience that felt earned. She pushed her chair back slowly, the legs scraping against the floor. That small sound cut through everything like a blade. Nobody told her to sit down. Nobody dared. When she stood up, the whole room stopped breathing. My sister went stiff. My mom started glancing nervously between them. Even my dad's proud expression wobbled just a little. Grandma stood there steady despite her age, and she looked at me first, really looked at me, and in her eyes I saw something I hadn't felt all night. Recognition, like she actually saw me, the real me.
Then she turned to my sister. Her voice was calm but firm, and she only said 2 words, but the effect was instant, like someone flipped a switch. Sit down. She didn't shout, didn't need to. Real authority never does. My sister froze, like she'd been caught doing something she thought nobody would ever challenge. That confident posture just collapsed. She lowered herself back into her chair, face completely drained of color. Grandma stayed standing, hands on the table, eyes sharp, and then she kept going. She told us she'd watched this family for decades, watched pride turn into cruelty, watched standards turn into weapons, and she was tired of seeing love handed out like a reward instead of given freely. She looked at my parents and asked them when exactly they decided that image mattered more than their own child. My mom opened her mouth, but nothing came out. That nod she'd given earlier, it looked small now, ashamed. My dad tried to defend himself, said he only wanted what was best for the family name. Grandma just smiled, sad and slow, and said, "The family name means nothing if you use it to crush the people who carry it." Something shifted inside me, like a knot I'd been carrying for years, finally started to loosen, because for the first time that night, someone was saying out loud what I'd always felt but could never find the words for. Grandma turned to me again, and she started talking about things I never thought anyone noticed. How I'd helped her after my grandfather died, how I showed up when nobody had time, carried her groceries, listened to her stories, fixed little things around her house without ever asking for praise or recognition. Each example made my sister sink lower in her chair, because none of it fit the story she'd tried to sell. My parents looked stunned, like they were seeing me for the first time, and I wondered how invisible had I been all these years that it took this moment, this confrontation, for them to actually notice me? Grandma finished by saying that if anyone at that table should feel ashamed, it wasn't the daughter who lived honestly, it was the people who tried to rewrite her worth just to protect their own egos. Then she sat down, and the whole room exhaled, like it had been holding its breath the entire night. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Then my sister let out this nervous little laugh, trying to brush it off like everyone was overreacting. But the laugh just died, because nobody joined her, not even my parents. I took a sip of my wine. My hands were steady now. I wasn't shaking anymore because something important had happened. The power had shifted. My mom finally apologized, quiet, no excuses. My dad just stared at his plate, his pride wounded in a way that couldn't be easily fixed. And for the first time, I didn't rush to make them feel better. I let the discomfort sit there, because it wasn't mine to fix. The rest of the night was awkward, forced conversations, cake eaten without enthusiasm. When it was time to leave, my sister wouldn't even look at me. That confidence earlier, completely gone. Grandma hugged me last, held on longer than anyone else, and then she whispered something I'll carry with me forever. A name doesn't make you who you are, but you can redefine a name. I stepped out into the cool night air, and I felt lighter than I had in years. That birthday didn't magically fix my family. It didn't turn my sister into a different person overnight. But it did something more important. It reminded me that I don't need anyone's permission to belong to myself or to my own story. I went home knowing that whatever shame they tried to hand me was never really mine to carry, and that sometimes the quiet ones at the table, they're the strongest, just waiting for the right moment to speak. Waiting for the truth to have its turn.